Hello everyone, Maryann here, revealing light, tarot, astrology and spirituality. Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. Yes, I saw that orb, very quick moving orb coming from this way and across the screen. Anyway, thank you for your likes, your comments and your subscriptions. It helps the channel grow and it helps me. It validates my work. Where do I start? There's been so much in the short time since I last spoke to you. This morning I've been watching the Charlie Kirk memorial service in the big sports stadium with very, very, very high production values. The clip that I saw had Erica Kirk come out to this sort of religious type music. There were sparkler things going off in front of her. She stood poignantly on the stage as the music built to a crescendo. Then she moved over to the microphone, and again the music is building, and she puts her arms out, and the music's getting really emotive now, and then she starts to pray. And to me this looked like a revivalist production of probably high production values. I've been around productions for TV, and very, very, very high production values. Now, her speech was, what can I say? She forgave her shooter. So meaningful, very meaningful there, that she could do that. But then Trump followed her, as I understand it, as the next speaker and just preached hate. He hates his opponents. They're his enemies. He doesn't want them to do well. He hates them. I don't know how many times he said hate. And then you had Stephen Miller then speaking and preaching the same kind of vengeance. We will get vengeance. And then Tucker Carlson coming on and talking about the Jews having a hand in murdering Jesus. I shouldn't smile, but honestly, it was bizarre. It almost was like they were catering for all the cross sections of MAGA. And over the weekend, I've done a deep dive. I've gone and I've listened to MAGA. I've gone and I've listened to the theories around Charlie Kirk's assassination. I've looked at what they're saying about the left. I've looked at the jokes they make, the way they talk, and just what it is that's motivating them. And so I found something in common. The more outrageous they are, the greater the clickbaits. The more intense they are, in a way, it draws the audience to them. But they don't always agree on everything. So you see various factions splintering off. A lot of them hate Candace Owen now for trying to dig to find out the truth about the Charlie Kirk assassination. And then she's supported by the ex-Navy SEALs. I mean, they're a part of MAGA all unto themselves, the ex-veterans, who are having their own theories, bringing their own theories forward about the assassination. And then you have a group of others who are then kind of lining up with the government and then accusing and breaking off from MAGA's here. And so you have all this infighting between them. If you think it was a cohesive force, it's not. It's not at all. It's a splintered, fragmented movement. And it's a movement that is all about the dollars. It's just got a big capital C in front of it. Capitalism. Capitalist. Money. Give me the money. It's that's who you're dealing with. Anyway, before I start the cards, I want to go into a little bit of clairvoyance over various other matters that I've been looking at. First of all, back to the assassination. You'll recollect in that first reading that I did straight after the assassination, I got the clairvoyant image. The view took me up and above and behind Charlie Kirk's head, and I said, "It's that back camera is very important." If that had sort of was taken down, and of course, people have viewed that footage now via Candace Owen, and that is very telling. The pressure on the FBI to get to the truth kind of culminated with Patel releasing some kind of idiotic statement today saying they were looking at, remember I said I think there's more than one shooter. They're looking at whether or not there is more than one shooter now. They're looking at hand signals. They're looking at all the things that people have brought up, the angle of the shot, the bullet, where the bullet might have gone, etc. And that is because there is fairly credible evidence on the internet from people who, have a background in forensics and etc. who have been producing imagery, fairly established accounts too. They're not fly-by-nights. They're not bots. They're and so there's evidence being produced about 2 shots being fired almost simultaneously, and the bullet actually being captured. It's all out there. Anyway, Patel's panicking, I think, a bit. Anyway, so I thought before I even start some cards, let's do some clairvoyance. I see, again, I was given the image of more than one shooter. I think there was 2 shooters there, and I'm being taken back behind him. I looked at how Tyler Robinson might be involved in this, and I was given the image of someone on a push bike, and then perhaps him being, I don't know, was he, maybe when he was younger, was there, I don't know, was he captured at a younger age? I kept getting someone drinking bottle out of a bottle, so the alcoholic bottle, and just watching him as a younger boy on a push bike. And I don't know why I've been given those images, but there was definitely something to do with push bike, which kind of it kind of leads me to believe youth. And then I get an alcohol, some kind of alcoholic stuff there. I don't know how that's lining up, but they were the images I got when I asked, was Tyler Robinson involved? I asked to have a look at the shooter. He was bearded, a lot older than Tyler Robinson, fairly established, not a long beard, a shortish beard, but more than just facial hair as well, or 3-day growth or 4-day growth. This was actually a beard, a baseball cap, and dark complexion. Now, I that's what I got when I looked at that. I then got off the assassination and looked at where this might go. My son asked me, why am I looking at the assassination? And I said, because it's going to be used to justify a crackdown on free speech and every other nefarious thing you could imagine. And we can't let that happen. We've got to get to the truth. I do see raids on left-wing orgs. I see them being arrested and taken out, handcuffed. I think that's going to happen, and happen quite soon. I see protests growing in the US. I mean, that's one of the obvious predictions, but they will be sort of curtailed in a way, cut off from various areas where people can't protest. So it's like they've been cordoned off. I then went to Putin to see, because his MiG jets have been flying over Estonia, a NATO country. You saw the drones flying into Polish airspace, and NATO jets having to scramble. What on earth is this person doing? It's a game to show Europe that they can't rely on the US. So he's he's sort of putting it on Trump to react. And, of course, Trump reacts by saying we're withdrawing our military out of the Baltic countries. And so this is, again, they're working in partnership, in synastry, if you like, to scare Europe, basically, into concessions, into basically moving away from Ukraine. And so that Putin can get the gains that he wants, his goals that he wants in Ukraine. So this is seemingly done in tandem with the US president, according to my clairvoyance. We've already heard people in Europe say we've got to look after ourselves now because Russia's threatening us. We shouldn't be worrying so much about Ukraine. We've got to look after ourselves. Now, Article 4 has been activated, and so there'll be a consultation. But as I predicted before, Europe needs to recognise it needs to go alone, as does Australia. This is a government no one can rely on in the US at this time. We are praying for a change. Now, on that religious revivalist stuff, we all have our own ways that we worship, or that we pray, or that we believe, or that we have faith in. And I do that, and I don't think I preach to my audience. But I am getting really tired of having religion shoved down my neck, as I could only imagine that many others are. It should not be melded with politics. There's nothing that gets my back up more than seeing religion and politics meet and then them both using each other. Okay, now let's get to some cards now. So I just wanted to give you that clairvoyance there. More than one shooter. They're now investigating more than one shooter. From behind, that is a very significant part of the investigation. They're now talking about evidence that is showing certain things from looking at that camera behind Kirk. So those two clairvoyant things were fairly spot on. We'll see how that is going to play out. I think somehow Robertson was I don't know, maybe caught up in this from a younger age, I feel, and there's something to do with alcohol. I don't know what the hell that is, but that was the image I was seeing. The actual shooter, bearded, baseball cap, dark complexion. I can see him right now, olive skin. Now, you make of that what you will, but that's what I'm seeing. Okay. Raids on left-wing organisations, people arrested, protests grown, protests being curtailed. Okay, so all right, let's see, drill down a little bit on this clairvoyance. I've been asked also, will the flotilla be safe going to Israel? I think I saw something this morning about Turkey and Egypt conducting naval exercises in the Eastern Mediterranean at the time that flotilla is due to be there. Obviously to offer some sort of protection to the flotilla. If that rumour is true, that is a good thing. But we also have a tinderbox in the Middle East and a tinderbox in Europe. All right, will they try and pass hate laws in the hate speech laws in the US? That's where I'm going to start. Bondi is certainly talking about it. Will they? And MAGA is against this, by the way. I wonder why, because they make their living out of hate speech. All right. Will Pam Bondi try and pass hate speech laws? Will Pam, or a version? Will a version of hate speech laws be put before the US Congress? Will a version of hate speech laws be put before the US Congress? Okay. So we got the Queen of Cups. Looking after ourselves, looking after others. That might be Bondi herself. And then we get the Ten of Pentacles, which is money, wealth. money being made out of hate speech. That might be where they go with it. So rather than target the hate speech itself, look at who is making what sort of money out of it, well, then they'd have to prosecute the President of the United States. We get prosecution, planning and strategizing. They're currently strategizing what is the best way to do this that will pass through, I guess, the Congress. So they're actually serious about this. In the past, we have reunification, coming together, families. They're definitely serious about this. And then we have the voter in that's crowning this reading, families, etc. They're going to pass some sort of form of this, in some form. I'm not sure what it will take, but we get abuse of power coming up in the immediate future. What did that silly Goebbels like bloke Miller say? We are the warriors and we are the storm. It's a straight out abuse of power. The ending of something, the death of somebody, that's, I think, Kirk's assassination. And then we get planning and strategizing because they feel they've got the motivation to do this. They're definitely going to try and do it. We get the hopes and fears, the lovers card, and that is the MAGA cult. So in doing so, they fear disenfranchising the very movement that put Trump where he is. And what they might do if they did it. So that's why they're looking for some kind of, I don't know, Machiavellian way of doing this. Now we have loss, despair, 3 cups lost, 2 remaining. This is very opportunistic. And then we get the new start here. And then the strength card. So they are they're going to use Charlie Kirk's assassination to pass some form of a law that targets hate speech in some way. Now, whether it's withholding money, I don't know, but it's coming. It's coming. Your freedom of speech is going to be curtailed. Now, we have boundaries, a very, they're holding, but something coming to fruition in time is betrayal. People will feel they have been betrayed. They'll be heartbroken that the First Amendment, they're going to try and trample on the First Amendment. But it's not, it's a roundabout backdoor way in some way. And I'm not quite sure, but it may have something to do with holding profits or something that come from hate speech. I don't know. There's some backdoor way they're going to try and do it. Now, we know that the left-wing sort of orator, Destiny, his Google channel's been demonetised. So they could be putting, that's probably how it's going to go. Hate speech for me, but not for you. They probably will look at de-licensing or threatening licenses for platforms that they deem have any sort of a hate speech. So it'll be up to the platform to remove it. So this could come via an executive order. They may not even need congressional laws to do this. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's coming. Okay. All right. Let's have a look. Will they conduct raids on left-wing organisations? I've seen things in Chicago that are abysmal. The way that they treated one certain lady, you would know the clip I'm referring to. The assault, plain out assault, ICE assaulting citizens. Okay, so peaceful protesters. All right, so are they going to conduct raids on the left? It's going to get awfully real for people like Charlie Kirk that had the rhetoric and used the rhetoric. It's going to become awfully real for everybody. Okay. All right. Will they conduct raids on left-wing organisations? Will they conduct raids on left-wing organisations. I've already seen it, but I want to see what the cards are going to say. Surprise, a surprise raid and the Eight of Pentacles. They're working on it, okay? So they're drawing up a list of the people they're going to be attacking. We get the Six of Swords, movement, but it's also moving out of troubled waters. Now that's interesting. Spirit might want to remind you that often they do these things, and this is also what I intuit. They start these things to test the boundaries. It gets to court, it gets thrown out. Okay. The Death card, yeah. So this is on the back of Kirk's assassination, which I shouldn't have to say is an absolute tragedy. He shouldn't have had to die. Ace of Wands. Ace of Wands, they're planning them already. It's tied, yeah. So we get, it's what their base wants. So give them something that they want on the one hand, and then while they're with this hand taking away certain privileges that MAGA themselves hold. MAGA has been increasingly critical of the government. So you see, this is not just aimed at the left. The Page of Pentacles in the here and now, young people and justice. The environment around is justice. So they're going to target, I don't know, the types of people you would associate with. I mean, Antifa is a movement, but I don't know if there's any youth organisations, left-wing youth organisations, but they're going to go there first. The Knight of Pentacles in the hopes and fears, stability or instability, really. And then the Three of Pentacles. They probably will, in this way, use... There's three things here. I don't know, who are they going to use? Police? I don't know, the National Guard? I don't know. But they're building this infrastructure right now to shut down left-wing organisations in any way they can, to curtail free speech. This is all arising from Kirk's assassination, which is in the past. That's why it's so serious. So we have the Ten of Pentacles, money, funding, how they're funded. Yep, they're going after the... Not only are they going after the left-wing organisations, they're going after those that fund and donate to them. And that's really important because they've declared Antifa, a broad movement, a terrorist organisation, anyone that's funding these left-wing organisations. They're trying to drain away the funds. Okay. Oh, dear. Okay, so we have emotions, anxiety, betrayal in a way. Young people are going to feel extremely betrayed. They're trying to isolate anyone who's considered an activist. Okay, all right. When this all goes through court, will the courts allow this to happen? Will the courts allow this to happen? The trouble is it takes so long for the legal processes to pan out. Will the courts allow this to happen? Will the courts allow left-wing groups to be targeted, hate speech in some way curtailed? Will the courts allow these crackdowns, if you want to put them like that, to occur? So the King of Pentacles is my card for Trump, the businessman, and then we get the Empress card. So again, a season of time. It's almost like America's become, it's like he's taken the way Putin shut down democracy in Russia, he's taken that playbook. And he's doing things that will come to fruition in time. I don't think so. There's going to, particularly I think going after donors, I don't think it's going to work in the courts. But anyway, judgment is in the past, this was always going to happen. We shouldn't be surprised. It looks like loss. He's not going to succeed. It's a potential for him not to succeed. We have a surprise here awaiting. We have wish fulfillment in the present, and then the Three of Cups. So really, this is Trump's wish. You saw his text message that was supposed to be a text message that went out onto Truth Social. They're really fulfilling his wishes. In the hopes and fears, we get deals done, and then we get no. Yeah, no, it's not going to work, but they're still going to keep planning for the next thing. We get waiting for one ship to come in, and then the world endings and beginnings. So resisting now will stand you in good stead during this period in time in America. It looks like the plan that they've got now doesn't work. They try another route. Okay, Page of Swords. Again, the treasonous person, the betrayer, the partisanship. Congress has to step up and defending oneself. Now, we had that idiot Ted Cruz, if I can say that, because he's been such an idiot on so many things in the past, came out and warned Trump against cracking down on hate speech. I think they're going after the monetary side of things, which will be interesting. Putting pressure on platforms to demonetize. I think it's that kind of thing. Okay, all right, so let's have a look, get off the US now, and take a look at... All right, let's take a look at Putin. What is he trying to do by breaching NATO space? What is Putin trying to do by breaching first Polish airspace and now Estonian airspace? What is Putin's gamble here? What is he trying to do? What is Putin trying to do by breaching NATO airspace? Okay, so increase anxiety and fear, and then we get the King of Cups looking for leaders that it's almost like he's trying to break a stalemate by making Europeans so frightened that they will come to him in some way, that their leaders will come to him, open up kind of talks. He will then push his goals that he wants in Ukraine, trying to break down Europe's resolve. We have here that's the bigger picture. We have here temperance, which is moderation at the base of the pack, and then we get Ace of Cups, emotions. Yeah, he's trying to turn friends against friends, make friends into enemies. We have here the Star of Hope crowning this reading. That's a good card to see. But we have the volatility and things underneath the surface. If ever there was a card to describe Putin, it's the Moon card. What lurks underneath the surface? Volatility, creating volatility. Now, we have planning and strategizing. He is a air sign, actually. That's his sign. And then we have families. Okay, so yeah. So what's he trying to do here? Make the ordinary, everyday person, families that living on the border, put fear into them. Five of Swords, abuse of power. That's what the fear is. And then we get 3 cups lost and 2 remaining. And strength, yep. I think there's going to be an incident where someone actually... There was a house that was hit, lost its roof. I feel that there is going to be an incident, if you like, if I can put it like that. And then we get lies and deceit. So fairly nefarious means, as we would have assumed. Loss, surprise, 5 of Pentacles. He's taking the battle to everyday people living within these countries to try and make them more and more fearful, to push the boundaries even further, to show Europe that they can't rely on Trump, to get Europe to agree to his goals in Ukraine. So will he directly attack? Because that's what will there be an incident where Putin actually kills or hurts somebody in a NATO country, or a NATO jet fighter or something like that? There's an incident. Am I correct? Will there be an incident where Russia hurts or maims someone in a NATO country or a NATO jet or a NATO soldier. Yep. Abuse of power, and then we get something coming to fruition in time. So it's not that far away. The truth will emerge of what he's trying to do. There's betrayal, broken-heartedness in the past. We get the Hanged Man pausing and suspending something. This is what they've got to decide, what their reaction, NATO. So there's still hope here. I think they're planning for some kind of, let me just call it an incident, involving maybe someone living, there's an incident that impacts on someone living in a NATO country. 5 of Cups is loss and despair in the hopes and fears, and then we get, there's going to be an incident that is going to really ratchet things up. There is going to be, just as he fired on the plane and brought down a passenger plane, I don't know if it's that, I don't think it's going to involve a passenger plane, but there's something coming here. There's an incident that will hurt or maim that Putin has planned to push the boundaries even further. Okay, let's go to the flotilla. I've had a lot of people asking about the flotilla. Will they be safe? Will the flotilla, Greta Thunberg and many, many others, will Greta Thunberg and her flotilla and everyone else involved in this convoy of boats heading to Gaza and Palestinian land, to the Palestinian people, will the flotilla be safe? Will the flotilla be safe? Will the flotilla be safe? 4 of Wands and the 8 of Wands. They're going to actually fire on them, I think, with that 8 of Wands there. Will they fire on the flotilla? Will Israel fire on the flotilla? They've already fired on them. Will they fire in any great way? Will they fire on the flotilla? The Hierophant, the government, will they fire on the flotilla? Yeah, they will. The Sun card, it's a very strong yes, and the Ace of Swords, yes, another yes, the truth. The truth shall be revealed. Their actions will isolate them. The Ace of Pentacles in the past, that countries will start to sanction Israel after this action. The King of Cups is in the sky, wisdom prevailing. The Temperance card is here in the immediate future, calls for moderation. We have illusion and delusion in the present, and we have the Death card in the atmosphere around. Goodness gracious me. The King of Pentacles is in the hopes and fears. Will America do something about this? No. Yes, they have already plans to fire on the flotilla. Okay. The Empress card, a season of time, and then we get secrets here. And the Knight of Wands movement. Okay, so I think they're going to fire on the flotilla. I hope I'm wrong. It will bring forward such condemnation from the world that countries will start to sanction Israel. Okay, now Australia has recognised two-state solution, has recognised that the state of Palestine. The American lawmakers, Cruz, Stefanik, and co. have sent my country a letter threatening punitive measures if they continue down this route, along with Canada and the UK. There was 142 countries that endorsed the resolution to recognise the Palestine two-state solution. I hope to goodness our Prime Minister doesn't meet with Trump. I really, really do. I hope they don't meet. I can't state that strongly enough. Now, I just want to say that I wrote this morning when I saw let me just get onto the when I saw Anthony Albanese, our Prime Minister's letter saying Australia recognises Palestine. I do want to say, I do just want to read this out for you. Just bear with me. Also want to say to you too that the Dominican Republic has informed that a boat off its shores was destroyed, people killed by America in that region. So they're not only blowing up boats around Venezuela, but also the Dominican Republic without any trials, without any knowledge of guilt. I also want to say Jimmy Kimmel, Disney has been boycotted. No one's at Disneyland. You know, you can make your choice. You can make your choice. Okay. Gosh, I can't find it now. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say that Australia's recognition of Palestine is largely symbolic until Israel stopped in its tracks, but it's important given we are moving away from Trump dictating to us, a Trump government dictating to us what we can and can't do. Australia, let me be clear, Australia is a sovereign nation. It's a sovereign nation with deep defence and trade ties to other Commonwealth countries and to Europe. We have trade ties in the main with China and good diplomatic relationships with China and strong relationships and indeed defence pacts with Asia through Japan, India, and of course we have extremely long-standing good relationships with Indonesia, Malaysia, even the smaller countries within our Pacific region. We're good, okay? We're good. We're doing just fine. Okay, I'm just going to finish with a question. What is Trump planning? Well, okay. Will Albanese meet with Trump? God, I hope he doesn't. Will Albanese meet with Trump? Will Albanese meet with Trump? Stay away. It's the Ace of Pentacles. Looks like they will. There's still not. They're still not. They're still kind of working it out. Okay. No one's sort of confirming, but we've got the Three of Wands. It's certainly something that Trump wants. His naval. They want a naval port in Australia. Okay, that's what they want. Their submarines can dock once AUKUS is up and running, but I think they want something sooner than that. God help us that he doesn't want a naval base in Australia. Let's not go down that track. Page of Wands in the past, so they've certainly been talking about it, but I just don't see there's loss here, walking away, retreat. I don't think so. I can't see a meeting happening. But let's keep going. We get the Truth here. We get the Chariot. Things sort of speeding up. I think Trump's going to come out and denigrate Australia even more than what he's done so far. Heavy decisions to be made. And then we get the Six of Wands victory. So it looks like the meeting that was gets cancelled, but there could be a meeting anyway further down the track. Victory, the Queen of Wands. So he wants something from Australia. Looks like they will end up meeting, but it's a very rocky path to that meeting. I was hoping that they wouldn't. I hope I'm wrong on that. The Judgment card, it's an inevitable that they will, because there's something that Trump wants from us. We would be mad to acquiesce. The relationship is not on solid ground, and that's something Australia can be proud of. To not to parlay with the likes of Donald Trump. Okay, let's see how all that pans out. That's it for today. Stay well and safe, everybody. Most of what they're going to try does not succeed in the courts. We just have to bear it until that time that it's deemed illegal. And he stopped. Okay then, bye for now.